One of the most common questions I get asked is, how much should I feed my guinea pigs? Whether that's hay, pellets, fresh veggies, grass, forages, treats, you name it, you've asked it. And I get the confusion. There's a lot of conflicting advice out there and you want to do it right. And as for your guinea pigs, well, they're just demanding food 24/7 non-stop. So in this video, I'm going to cover what you need to know alongside a look at dietary requirements, anatomy and health to help you understand how you can give your piggies a balanced diet. And towards the end, I'll give you my take on some of the most common diet questions us piggy owners encounter. I know, I lured you over. I lured you all over, didn't I? What's this? You've got to share. Yours is here. So let's start at the beginning. What did guinea pigs evolve to eat and how does that shape what we should be feeding them today? So in the wild, in South America, our guinea pigs' natural habitat was basically endless amounts of grasses, herbs, leafy plants, even the roots and bark of trees. They would spend most of their day just grazing, and as a result, they are perfectly designed little eating machines, consuming a high fibre diet. Hence, they're known as fibrivores, along with rabbits and chinchillas. And like other fibrivores, guinea pigs' teeth grow continuously throughout their entire lives. They need to be constantly chewing on fibrous material to wear those teeth down. And that's all their teeth, not just those front pearly whites that we see. If you feel along your guinea pig's jawline, you'll feel their incisors, then an empty space with no teeth, and then their all-important molars right at the back of the mouth for grinding down all of that fibre. And as well as their teeth, their digestive system is all about fibre. Guinea pigs are what we call hindgut fermenters. That means they have a large organ called the cecum where beneficial bacteria help to break down that fibre. This process is slow, it takes time and it needs to happen continuously. If guinea pigs go too long without food or they're unwell and they don't feel like eating, their digestive system can slow down or even stop completely. And for ill guinea pigs, that can actually be more dangerous than the health problem that put them off food in the first place. These days, it's obvious that our pet guinea pigs live very different lives to their wild ancestors. But their bodies haven't changed. They're still fibrivores, and fibre should form the basis of their diet in the form of hay. You probably know that hay needs to be available 24/7, and it makes up 90% of their diet. And in my experience, it should really be topped up as often as possible. If you actually sit and watch your guinea pigs eat, they can be surprisingly picky about their hay. They love the leafy bits, the seed heads, the soft pieces, leaving all of the stalky bits. Unless there's a particularly good stalky bit. So they root through and they process all the best bits pretty quickly, which they enjoy doing. So to encourage them to eat lots of hay and therefore lots of fibre, top it up when you can throughout the day. And also, variety matters. Timothy hay is often referred to as the #1 hay out there, and I agree with this, and the guinea pigs absolutely love it. But it's a bit samey, you know? It's all one species of grass, and it's expensive too. So as well as Timothy, I give my guinea pigs meadow hay, which has lots of different textures and tastes, and it keeps them interested. And because it's cheaper, I use it as the main bedding in their litter trays. This specific combination works for us, but for you, there might be different hays available, but when you're choosing them, try to keep quality and variety in mind, and remember, it really is the most important thing they eat. Lastly for hay, I recommend varying how you feed it. So some loose on the floor of the cage or in litter trays is massively enjoyed by the piggies, and it's more easily accessible for senior piggies, but it won't stay fresh for long there. So add in some hay racks or stuff some in tunnels or toys around the cage too. Piggies! What's this? Okay, moving on. And most guinea pig owners feed pellets alongside their hay, and there are good reasons for that. So for one, guinea pigs can't produce their own vitamin C, so they need it supplementing in their diet alongside other essential nutrients that help prevent deficiencies. Not all owners choose to feed pellets though. Some feed a really varied fresh diet and skip them out completely, but for most of us, pellets are a convenient way to ensure our piggies are getting a good level of baseline nutrition. Okay, I have spoken about this recently, but my recommendation is to give 10 to 15 grams per pig per day. They want it, they're desperate for it. Minnie's eating it straight off the spoon. So this 10 to 15 grams per pig per day is about 1 or 2 tablespoons. You might see more advised on the back of the package, but many experienced owners feed less. Basically because it's dead easy for guinea pigs to just fill up on pellets and then not eat enough fibre. You might increase this amount if you think your guinea pig needs help maintaining their weight. However, for normal, healthy guinea pigs, you don't need to go overboard when it comes to pellets. And my advice is to pick a good quality plain pellet, none of that muesli stuff that's marketed specifically for guinea pigs. I feed Science Selective grain free at the moment, and in the past I've fed Burgess Excel. I had to try and capture the last of the pellet eating because it's just adorable. Okay, let's talk about fresh vegetables, which is probably the part that people worry about most. So, why fresh veggies? Well, in most cases, our pet piggies don't have access to all those wild plants, shrubs, and even trees that their wild ancestors ate. Fresh vegetables add nutrients and diversity to their diet that hay and pellets alone can't provide. And for a lot of piggies, the extra hydration from fresh food is also really important. And they've all left you. You want to finish every single one off, don't you? But what volume of vegetables should we be feeding? Well, you've probably seen that standard advice of 1 cup per pig per day. And honestly, I struggle with that. So much so that my lovely friend actually bought me this handy measuring tool for cups. And this is 1 cup. Probably a bit smaller than what I would have otherwise thought. But when it comes to putting vegetables in here, I'm still confused. I mean, are they sliced? Are they finely chopped? Are they diced? Or is it assumed that they're packed in there with no air gaps whatsoever? Also, water content and nutritional values varies a lot between different vegetables. A cup of cucumber is mostly water, whereas a cup of kale is nutrient dense, but also high in calcium. I do appreciate that the cup recommendation is probably for a mixture of veg, probably chopped up relatively small, and in that respect, it's an okay guide. And it's probably a similar amount or slightly less to what I used to feed my guinea pigs in the early days. They would get pretty much the same thing every day: lettuce, cucumber, and bell peppers. Occasionally I'd throw in something different, but those 3 were my go-to options. And my guinea pigs were healthy on this simple diet alongside hay and pellets, of course. Today, I still use these staples, but I try to give my piggies more variety. And some things which I use up to 3 to 4 times a week, on and off, include things like spring greens, other cabbages, coriander, celery, fennel, and broccoli. And my advice for new owners is to get the peppers, all different colours, cucumbers, and lettuces in, but try to add 1 or 2 extra things where you can. And don't forget to share some things that you're eating with your guinea pigs too. Guinea pigs can eat a surprisingly huge variety of vegetables, and I've done some really fun taste test videos recently if you want to see my pigs trying different foods. A resource that I've always gone back to is the Guinea Links vegetable charts. They break down calcium and vitamins and other nutrients, and they're really helpful for understanding which vegetables should only be fed in moderation. I'll go ahead and link those down in the description below. And along with increasing variety, today I actually feed less volume than what I used to. I usually work to the rule of 2 to 3 small pieces of veg per pig per day, and probably around 4 to 6 vegetables on most days. The 1 cup guideline feels a bit excessive to me now, but it might be fine for you and your piggies, especially if you choose to split it between 2 meal times. There we go, half a cup versus a full cup. Next up, we have fresh grass and forages during the summer months. And I just want to point out that this isn't essential. You can absolutely feed your guinea pigs the same diet all year round. Maybe you can't put them outside, or you choose not to due to a host of reasons. And that's completely fine. The video up in the cards now points out some risks and things you need to watch out for when introducing your piggies to outside time, which will come in useful if you're considering giving it a go. Also, some people who keep their piggies indoors just like to grow their own wheatgrass, herbs, or other wild plants during the summer, in which case their diet still might take a pivot with the seasons. My piggies go out in their run for up to a few hours at a time when the weather's good. When we do this, I lower or skip out completely the amount of shop-bought vegetables they get, but I do make sure to transition in and out of this gradually. So I'll hand-pick grass for them as the weather improves, and I'll start with just short sessions outside to begin with so they don't gorge themselves silly on all of that fresh grass. And the same goes for at the end of the season and phasing it out. Like I said, grass and fresh forages are a nice thing to do if you can, but if you can't, then don't worry about it. Okay, next up we are going to move on to some common health concerns and questions about guinea pig diet. And our first one is, what about vitamin C? Do we need to supplement that on top of everything else? And my straight answer is no. As long as you're doing all of the steps in this video, then you don't need to give extra vitamin C supplements because they'll be getting enough from their pellets and their fresh vegetables that you're giving them. Next up is, how many treats is it okay to give? And treats can be a nice thing, you know, they can help you bond with your guinea pig, they can provide enrichment. However, they don't form a core part of your guinea pig's diet. They aren't required. If you choose to never buy your guinea pigs treats, that's absolutely fine. And from their perspective, they'll probably see the fresh vegetables as treats. And also, a lot of treats can be unhealthy. So when you're buying things, look at the ingredients. You want all natural ingredients, no added sugars. And in terms of how often, I do feed small things like dried carrot pieces and bits of pea flake, most days probably. But in terms of the bigger, chunkier treats, then probably, 2 to 3 times a week max. Next up is, will they get bladder stones from calcium in vegetables? So with bladder stones, it's a tricky topic, and it's important to know that calcium comes from a lot of different sources, like pellets, like hay, like water, and also there's genetic predispositions and things. So there's never a clear, oh, you were feeding too much parsley, therefore your guinea pig developed bladder stones. However, I would avoid those top tier high calcium vegetables on the Guinea Links charts if you want to just lower the risk when it comes to a high calcium load coming from vegetables. Next up is what to do when they're always begging for food. And I know it is hard to resist when they're so squeaky and adorable. And I think everyone's just gone totally bored of my voice. They've all gone to sleep. But yeah, it can be hard to resist not giving your guinea pigs treats or extra pellets or whatever it might be when they're begging for food. But, don't feel bad about ignoring them. They love food and they will do it no matter what. So yeah, don't worry if you ignore them. If you stick to what we've talked about in this video, then that's a good diet routine and you don't need to fall for their lovely little squeaks asking for extra food. Next up is baby piggies. Do they need separate alfalfa hay and separate alfalfa pellets from adults? And personally, I think this advice is a bit outdated now. Quality of hay, quality of our pellets today have improved a lot to the point where people don't need to rely on giving alfalfa to help baby piggies develop. So personally, no, I don't think it's required. If you do want to give a little bit of alfalfa supplement to your baby piggies, then you can do that easily through the alfalfa hay cubes that you can get. Next is, I introduced something new and they've got soft poops. Should I panic? So in most cases, as long as they're eating their hay and their pellets and everything else still fine, then no, it's not a reason to panic too much. Soft poos, like some squidgy poos around the cage, especially if you know that you've just given them something new or a lot of veggies, can be normal, but they're a sign that perhaps you should lay off the veggies for a few days, keep an eye on those poops, and make sure that they're nice, firm little beans before you start giving them veggies again. If, however, your piggy has soft poops, they're also looking sick, perhaps they're off their hay and their pellets, then it's time to get them to an exotics vet. And I do have a lot of videos on the channel about what you can do in the meantime at home before you're able to take them to a vet. Like I said earlier in the video, if your guinea pigs go for a certain amount of time without eating, then it can have serious effects on their digestion, so we need to be on it if we think our guinea pigs are off their food. And last of all, we have, my guinea pig is really picky with fresh food, what do I do? So with young piggies in particular, it can be fairly normal for them to turn their noses up at some form of vegetable or another. And to be honest, the only quick fix I've seen for this is when those baby pigs see an adult pig eating that food, then instantly they forget all of their concerns and they're like, oh great, it's safe to eat, and then they just dive in. However, if you don't have adult pigs hanging around eating vegetables, then it's just a case of keep trying to introduce those foods that they don't seem too keen on. And you know, eventually, like it happens with us humans, they might decide that, oh, they're going to give it a try and that they like it. And it doesn't matter if they've got a relatively small menu to begin with. And one thing came to mind actually related to that one, which is a question about drinking water, and a lot of people being worried that their baby piggies or their young piggies aren't drinking enough water. And if you're feeding them fresh vegetables, they'll be getting a lot of hydration from those veggies. But if you want to encourage more drinking of water, then use bowls in the cage as well as bottles. Some piggies prefer bowls. I find my piggies are a complete mix, especially when they're eating pellets though, they do like to drink out of the bowls of water. Okay, that wraps up the questions for this video. If there's any I've not answered, then post them down in the comments below and I will do my best to get back to you. I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone, and I hope you found it useful if there was any aspect of the guinea pig diet that you were worried about. And I will leave you with this video on our recent taste testing. If you're looking to introduce any new veggies to your guinea pig's diet, then give it a watch. We tried some really cool things like butternut squash, beetroot, and even pumpkin. So I would highly recommend that video. But for now, thank you so much for watching and we will see you in the next one. Bye bye!